Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Wishwell Farms. I'm going to give you a quick update on all the greenhouses. Are you ready for an update, Tassie? Let's go. Things are looking awfully green in here. Cantaloupes, bell peppers, zucchini, some of my wife's geraniums, and it looks like my daughter planted some spinach, parsley, okra, kale. The hot peppers are way behind, but that's all right. We'll use them for our relish. Field tomatoes, some more zucchini, cucumbers, some more zucchini, our determinate tomatoes for the coconut core slabs in the grape house. Pollinator watermelons for our seedless watermelons. This variety came up really well. This variety, not so well. Some are still coming. They probably got pushed in a little deep. Looks like it's only about a 60% stand. And these are probably only a 50% stand. So that is terrible for our seedless watermelon. I might even plant a few more flats just to make sure we don't run out when we are transplanting. Oh, we have eggplant here. They're looking real nice. Sometimes you gotta look for aphids down in the whorl on these pepper plants. Everything looks bug-free right now. All right, let's go check out some of the other greenhouses. Longhouse, greenhouse number 2. First 2 rows are Geronimo. This row is half Torero, half Ondero. Sorry if the fan's noisy. I'm gonna leave it running because I turned it off yesterday when we were working out here and I forgot to turn the darn thing on. So it was not running all night. The heater was just blowing air into the convection tube and it probably didn't even make it halfway down. This is planting number 3 right here. They're looking nice. I see little tomatoes forming. We just sucker pruned them for the first time yesterday. All right, Tassie, in the other greenhouse. You ready? Let's go. Okay, let's go check this greenhouse. Come on, Tassie. I'm gonna turn this fan jet off because it is loud. Planting number 4. They haven't even been strung up yet, but they're really starting to root into the perlite. And you can definitely tell they have greened up and grown quite a bit from the feeding of our hydroponic recipe. They look very happy. Are you happy? Tassie, are you happy? You'll be happy when you can go chase the water. Let's go. So yesterday I sprayed for thrips. And I still have to finish these 3 rows. I ran out of time. But I was able to get the entire longhouse done. Greenhouse number 2 that we were just in. And this row here. So I have a little concoction I mix that I spray for thrips. And I've already kind of talked about this in another video, but I'll just briefly cover it again. I use Azagard, which is just neem oil, Conserve, which is spinosad, and then I also alternate between 2 other biologicals that I mix in there with it. One's called Botanigard, and one is called No Fly. They're like a dry powder, and they're like spores that will grow on the thrips and kill them once they come in contact with it or once they eat it. I forget. But it's a mycoinicide. Mycoinisecticide? I always forget the right way to say that. But they seem to work pretty good. The Azagard and the spinosad, the neem oil and the spinosad is more of a contact. And the way it works, it's more of a contact insecticide. And then the other ones kind of grow spores on them and kill them that way. So I'm hoping to get different life cycle stages of the thrip by spraying these 3 ingredients together. And seems to be working pretty good. My crops are pretty clean this year. This is my dog's favorite thing every morning. She gets to go outside and check all the greenhouses with me. I'll be telling you all about this trailer in a future video. This is one of our mobile market trailers that we set up in a busy intersection 6 days a week throughout the summer. Here we are in the grape greenhouse. And they are looking gorgeous. And you know what? I found some ripe grape tomatoes the other day. I actually ate a few. Here we go. Here's some right here. Looky there. The first ripe tomatoes of the year. They're still turning. Oh, there's some nice red ones right there. That one might be red enough to eat. Let's try it out. Yeah, I'm seeing some color sprinkled throughout here. We're going to have to start picking. There's a nice cluster there. Wow. Not a lot. Maybe just a few pints, but you know, we got to get them out of here so they don't split on us. If we let them stay on the plant too long, at full maturity, the fruit can split. Come on, Jessie. There you are. Not a lot to harvest yet, just a couple pints, but that's the way it starts. You got to get those red ripe fruit off the vine, or they will eventually split on you. So we'll start picking those probably tomorrow or first of next week. Today is Thursday, and I'll just store those in flats in my grape tomato cooler so they don't get too hot or too cold. And then we'll start stockpiling those for the next, wow, what is 3 weeks before the first farmer's market. I mean, there's farmer's markets available year round in Columbus that I could take them to. I didn't sign up for any of them until May 18th, so that'll give us 3 weeks to stockpile them and have about 15 or 20 flats, hopefully, for that first farmer's market to sell. All right, let's check out greenhouse number 1, the tall house. Tassie, come on. Get in here. Come on. I don't trust my dog. She will run off. When she goes outside to go potty, she's attached to, well, she's either in a fenced-in area or in the front yard. We have to attach her to like a dog run because we're on a busy highway. And we have lost 2 dogs in the last 25 years out there on that highway. We don't want it to ever happen again. All right, these plants are looking very healthy, getting some nice fruit size. We've debranched a couple times, and I haven't talked about that yet. I'll get into that later on in the video about why we do that. Definitely big enough to make a fried green tomato. As you can see, there's 2x4s put in the middle of each main post to help support that cable, as it's starting to get really heavy. And when I built this greenhouse, I went like 12 feet between posts, and it was just a little too far, so the cable really sags when we get a lot of weight on it, so we support the middle of them with 2x4s. Seems to work just fine. I've been doing it this way since 2005. So our very first cluster, we pruned down to 3 tomatoes, and then we went to 4, 4, 4, I think 3 sets of 4, if there was 4 good tomatoes on them. Like this one only had 3. And then we just fruit pruned yesterday down to 3. As I noticed, there's one that got missed. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tomatoes on it. That one got missed. That should be pruned down to 3 tomatoes. The plants are starting to get a little stressed right now. I can tell because I'm starting to see a few of the clusters not forming good tomatoes, or even producing a blank cluster with no tomatoes. That usually tells me that the plant is just stressed, overloaded, overwhelmed, trying to mature its current fruit load that it has on the plant. So I'm sorry if that fan jet's loud. I should be back here a little further away from it talking. So when I start seeing that happen, or usually I just automatically go back down to 3 tomatoes instead of 4 for the next couple clusters until we start picking. Also, another reason I do that is because our greenhouse that I was in earlier, greenhouse number 2, the long house, it also has lots of tomatoes on it right now, and we're still leaving those at 4 fruit per cluster. So I don't necessarily need to have 4 coming off of these, because those are going to be giving me enough tomatoes. Now, once we start picking in here and the plants look like they've been relieved a little bit, I'll start pruning them to 4 fruit again, and they usually do just fine. But yeah, this time of year, I can definitely see the plants slowing down a little bit, getting a little skinnier at the top, just not as beefy and hardy as they did look early on when they only had a couple clusters on them. So we're currently at cluster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 clusters are fruited out, and I see cluster number 6 is in the flower stage. When cluster number 7 is starting to form fruit, which is going to be here in the next 10 days, I think, we should start seeing some ripe fruit on cluster number 1. That tends to be the normal time for us to start harvesting, when cluster number 7 starts to form fruit. So we're getting really close. All right, I want to explain to you why we remove branches off of the bottom of our tomato plants. There's 2 main reasons. And now that I'm looking at this plant, I'm seeing some fresh thrip damage. So it looks like I'm going to be spraying this greenhouse next too. Here's what I look for. You see the white speckling on these leaves? Like, I see it all the way in here. Thrips can fly, they have wings, so they bounce around throughout the plant. Right there, this leaf is tore up pretty good. They've been piercing the cell wall with their piercing mechanism. Is that one? And you know, they can spread viruses within the plant, and then they'll lay their eggs on the bottom side, and if you don't treat them, you'll start seeing the larvae crawl around on the bottom sides of where they pierce the plant and suck the green out. And once that happens, that means they've been active in here for over 30 days, since their life cycle is only 30 days long. And it's hard to get them under control once those larvae are underneath the leaves, because it's a lot harder to get the spray up under the leaf. So you kind of have to spray under the plant with your spray wand and on top of the plant. So it takes twice as long, and it's just a lot harder to get under control once they've gotten that far. So definitely need to get out here and spray these, but I'm always hesitant about doing it when I got big green tomatoes, because I have speckled the tomatoes lightly before with markings from the spray. If you spray the wrong thing at the wrong time of the day when it's hot and sunny, it can almost burn the fruit skin. So you gotta be really careful. I don't like to spray my actual fruit, only the leaves. But once you're up near the tomatoes with the only leaves that are down low by them with the thrips on them, you know, it's unavoidable to not spray the fruit. Okay, anyway, back to why we remove these branches. So there's the first branch. It was here, all the way up. So each week, this plant is putting on 3 new branches. So here's the 1, 2, 3. There's the 3 branches that were just opened up this week. And I would consider these basically mature branches, just about. So we want our tomato plants to only carry 12 mature branches. Now the main reason for that is it's not required to have more than 12 branches full of leaves to give the plant its photosynthesis that it needs to feed these tomatoes properly. So any branches down below here that would exceed 12, like if we hadn't broke them all off, we would probably have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we've removed 10 branches so far. So we would have 22 branches on this plant. Far too many, not needed. So we want the plant to put its energy into producing new fruit and maturing the current fruit load that's on the plant. Another important reason we do this is that it, 2 more reasons I can think of. One, it gives us nice airflow through here. If this was all full of branches all the way down to the ground, you know, there's just more risk of disease pressure, because there would be more humidity, more condensation maybe lingering in here. It's just too many leaves touching each other. So just having that nice open area down here allows more airflow and less risk of disease. The other main reason, which is probably even more important in my mind, is ease of picking and keeping things visible down here. So these tomatoes right here, You know, they're probably still 2 weeks away, at least. We're going to be lowering at least a couple more times. These tomatoes are going to be down here, right on top of the buckets, or even off to the side of the buckets. I've even seen them just barely touching the ground before they turn red. And if you had an extra, by then, 15 or 20 branches down there, all intertwined with the tomatoes, with the buckets and the cubes and these feeder tubes, you know, before long, you know, they get bumped and popped out, and you always have to stick them back in. So just having a nice clean area that's visible down there makes a huge difference, and that's one of the other reasons that we remove 3 branches each week. So if we count these, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we definitely got our 12 we need. And then we got these, I guess they're not really mature, even though I've said they probably were. You know, that'd be 13, 14, 15. So in a couple days, we'll be back to remove 3 more once these get a little bit more mature. When they're pointing upwards at an angle like that and still a little bit small, I guess they're not fully mature. When they get fully mature, they start looking more horizontal, coming off the stalk straight out. So angled up, immature, horizontal, fully mature. And yesterday I noticed that our fertilizer tanks were empty. Looks like I'm down to the final couple gallons, so I'll be mixing fertilizer here next. If you're interested in seeing me mix up our fertilizer mixture that we feed our plants, I will link that video down in the description box below, and I'll try to remember to put it at the end of the video as well. Man, that's a big boy. Wow, hand size. Yeah, we're getting some good size. You know, another little secret about knowing when tomatoes are about ready to turn colors. If you look real close on the bottom of this tomato, it almost looks like a star, an asterisk. See these little lines coming off of the center of the tomato that almost starting to form an asterisk? When those start turning white and you see like little white streaks, you're probably a week away from picking. And I don't see it here yet. You can start to see a little bit of light color there on that one. When that gets a little bit more white and you can see those lines a little bit more pronounced, you're getting close to harvest. But some of these definitely have the size for a tasty fried green tomato. So this is my fertilizer injector for my starter house. And I have it all taken apart right now. I believe it goes something like that. But it's just a Dosmatic. And I've been using this thing for probably 12 or 15 years. I've never cleaned it. It was so covered in rust and fertilizer deposits, I can't even believe it worked. It didn't work. It was no longer siphoning the fertilizer properly into the hose while I was watering. So I decided to take it all apart. I took off all the gaskets, little rubber O-rings, and I soaked it in a bucket full of acid water for 2 days. And now it almost looks brand new. So I'm gonna slap this thing back together and we'll see how she works. So these are the O-rings I took off of it. Looks like it's just 4. And I tried to match them up as best as I could in town, but I got like 2 of each size. One a little thicker, one a little thinner. So we'll see if I even need to use them. But this thing was leaking like a sieve at every joint. I mean, here, there, just everywhere. So that's why I wanted to replace the O-rings. So I'm gonna work on this for a little bit and we'll get back with you and let you know if it works. All right, got it all back together. Everything seems nice and snug and tight, and some of the new O-rings worked that I put on there. Let's go hook it up to the water and see what happens. It's not working. Even when I put my tongue on it, no suction at all. The hose has actually got water in it. What in the world? I see the little arrow in there, so that's the direction of the source water. I don't think it's on backwards. It's still leaking everywhere. Gosh, what in the world? All right, I'm gonna take it back apart and work on it one more time. And if I can't get it to work, gonna have to buy a new one, it looks like. I forgot that I had this for the mums. It was in my cooler. So I got rid of that old one, and this PVC thing, bypass thing, all had to be replaced. And she's working good. So there's the old one I took out. I could not get my Dosmatic to work. So thankfully we had this one on hand, and it's working great. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but this morning was the day of the hard frost here in Ohio. At one time they were calling for like 26 degrees. I think it only got down to like 30, 31. It wasn't that bad. It's pretty typical to have that for a couple times in late April. Today is April 25th. I have to look at my watch every time. I can't remember what day of the week it is. So we're getting really close to laying plastic out there in our vegetable field on the other side of the pond. I got a 10-acre field there. We put about 8 or 9 acres of it into raised beds covered with plastic mulch and drip irrigation underneath the plastic. So I'm hoping next week that'll be dry enough to get the ammonium sulfate spread and disked so we can start laying our beds. And I have the plastic mulch and drip tape all here ready to go. 8 rolls, 9, we got about 9 rolls there we gotta lay, and 5 rolls of drip tape. So I don't do near as much as I used to. We used to lay about 12 to 14 acres. Now it's about 8. And that seems to give us all the vegetables we need to supply our 8 farmers markets and 2 roadside stands that we do throughout the summer. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again real soon down on the farm.